Hello there, everyone. We're back with a new episode of Physical Lounge. I'm Tom Corradini, and today we have the pleasure to interview Amy Clare Tasca. Hope the accent is all right. Who represents and created an amazing festival set in London titled Voilà Europe. And here you can see their main webpage, Voilà Europe. Now, this title may seem ironic in the times of Brexit, whatever, but I had a chance to see some of the shows of this festival and to meet Amy in person, and I really wanted her to be here today with us. So, Amy, it's up to you. Now, can you explain us what Voilà is and just tell everyone what it's all about?
Great. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm one of the co-directors of the Voilà Europe Theatre Festival, which is produced by the Cockpit Theatre in London. And it's a festival of multidisciplinary, multicultural, multilingual work from companies and artists based in the UK and around Europe. And last year and this year going forward, kind of without any geographical boundaries, thanks to the digital program that we've been putting together. So it's kind of a portal for us to connect independent European theatre to border-busting artists or audiences. Let me try that again. It's a portal for us to connect independent European theatre with curious cross-cultural audiences.
Okay, I'm gonna underline two words you said. One is independent theater, and the second one is European. If I'm not mistaken, we met by chance something like 2 years ago, and I will not go into the gory details of how we met, but I think we immediately clicked, and that was very good. And correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong, but I think at the beginning it kind of started as a Franco-British festival, didn't it? That's why it's called Voilà.
That's right. Yes. That's right. So it actually started back in 2012 at the Cockpit when Dave Wybrow, who is the director of the Cockpit, kind of accidentally programmed a few pieces of work that had a French connection. And Charlotte Daysack she was performing in one of those pieces. And after that little mini festival, they decided to kind of tie it all together. And Charlotte had so many ideas for how it could work and what it could be like that she got put in charge of it. So she and Dave at the Cockpit ran Voilà Festival for, I don't know, 5 years or so, I think, as a French and English festival. And then in 2016, when the UK voted to leave the EU, we had that referendum, and out of that kind of political conversation, social conversation, cultural conversation, Charlotte and Dave decided to turn the festival European, so that it would be kind of pan-European, everybody. And then the year after that, I came on board in 2018 yes, that's right, to help run things. So now Charlotte and I lead the festival together with loads of wonderful support from the Cockpit.
Okay, and wonderful support, and also big problems because you had an online version of the festival, unfortunately, in 2020, which I must say, though, it was, given the fact that it was also organized in a rush, I think it was quite successful. That's my take, and I had a chance to see one show naked. I don't know. How did you live this experience? We're going through the same experience right now. We don't know whether we're going to have our festival in May or not. Well, hopefully we will. But, emotionally, it must have been quite demanding. I don't know.
Yeah. So we programmed the festival from an open call for applications. So this time last year, we were maybe a couple of weeks into receiving applications, and everything in the UK shut down. Everything everywhere shut down. And so we had some conversations with Dave and the Cockpit, and the Cockpit had actually very quickly pivoted to online broadcasting. So they were creating a broadcast department from scratch, and I think they had it up and running by the end of March last year. So they were really responsive, and they, doing on-demand viewings for pre-recorded work, doing live Zoom scratch nights, and experimenting with the digital possibilities. So we basically added a tick box to our application form to say, do you think this could work online? And took it from there. We read all the applications through the spring, and then by the time June rolled around, we had enough information to say, okay, well, we're definitely going to do something digital this year. We may be able to do something in the venue, and we did in fact program some shows, 4 shows that would have been in the venue. And then a week before the festival in November, the UK had another lockdown, so we changed all those things to be online. So that was exciting. Well, it was definitely, I mean, you talk about keeping your spirits up. It was a real kind of let's band together and, react to this, support each other. And, the artists that we were working with were so resilient and creative, and grateful for someone to say, yeah, we can still do something.
Well, what I can say from my end, I think you have a great team, and more than the show naked itself, what really struck me was the so-called after-show conversation you had with everyone else on Zoom, and I think that you were like 30 people, 35, and I watched that with extreme interest because emotionally, I mean, you were able to transmit that kind of enthusiasm you had for, no, seriously, not this, I'm not saying this to compliment you. I kind of remained glued to that presentation because from my side, it felt like being with you guys. And you were able to create that kind of empathy. So that's bravo for you, so to speak. But that
was one of our key kind of criteria for programming digital work, is how can we make it have that same sense of, I don't know if you want to call it liveness, assembly, community. So even the shows that were pre-recorded had a live watch party element to them. So we got all the audience together, or as many as who wanted to come. And, we watched the show. You could chat with the other audience members while you were watching the show, by typing. And then at the end of the show, we had a conversation with the artist and the audience. And it was really important to us to kind of keep that sense that we can get together still, even though it's digital.
Okay, that's great, and that's a thing that we hope in our festival to have as well. So I think you were inspirational for us in a way. And,
great.
Well, somebody must open the dances, and fortunately, unfortunately, you had to. Well, the Chinese say that, what is that? Necessity is the mother of all inventions. And you had to invent something on the spur. But that was the past. Now I think you're publishing. You just published the call for the new edition of Voilà. But before we talk about that, let me show a video real fast, and that's a trailer of Voilà, so that people can understand more or less what the festival is all about. Okay, let's watch it together. So here's a trailer from Voilà. Okay, so that was the trailer from the 2019 edition. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so what is happening for next edition? Tell us everything. So, tell all the artists that would like to apply. How does the festival work? How can you apply? What kind of shows are you looking for? It's going to take an hour, maybe. There's a lot of questions, but try to be as concise as you can.
We've written a lot about that on our website, which you can find at www.voilafestival.co.uk. And in a nutshell, we are looking for shows that have some connection to Europe, whether that's through the culture of the people who are making them, the language of the show. We accept applications for performances that are not in English and have no text, and are in English and are bilingual or multilingual. We're really interested in language and crossing boundaries, whether that's crossing borders or genres or media and languages. So that's the sort of thing that we program. And we've got the call running now. We just announced our call for applications. It's an open call. There's no fee to apply. And you can find all that on our website. We're looking at, inspired and learning from last year's digital festival. We're looking for live, online, and interactive shows, which might be on Zoom, for example, where the performers and the audience are together in the same digital space and they can interact. Or there's kind of a live watch party event for a pre-recorded show, like Naked, like you were saying, Tom. And then we're really open to out-of-the-box online ideas. And we've kind of created it, that's got its own kind of programming strand. So for example, last year we had a one-on-one 15-minute performance called Shit Happens, where the performer and one audience member met on Zoom for 15 minutes and they were each in their own bathrooms at home. So that's an out-of-the-box online performance, which Patricia, the artist, adapted that from her 1 hour solo show to do a pandemic version of it. And then we had another show that was called Trojana Webcamming Chronicles, which it was a series of emails, a daily email for 9 days with bits of content and clues and context for the piece, and then a live Zoom meeting on the final day of the piece. And they did that in English, French, and Spanish.
I also, sorry if I interrupt you, but I also remember a Norwegian clown. I forgot his name though. What's his name? Can you remind me? Because that guy is very good. I saw him live as well. Oh geez, I can't remember his name right now.
Are you thinking of Freya Strang? Freya?
That's okay. I should have prepared myself for this, but I want to keep as spontaneous as I can. I forgot his name, but I'll find it. And
oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, We Missed You, which was by Julia Masley and I can't believe. Let's cut out the part where I can't remember.
A Norwegian clown with
Vigo.
That's it.
Yes.
Sorry, Vigo. I actually met him in person, and I like your show, but that's why I mentioned you. So don't get offended. Well, maybe you know what? Maybe it can be an excuse for next interview to interview him because I kind of like what he does. So yeah, why not? No, but let me ask you first of all, what is expiration date for applying for the next edition of the festival? I mean, you can apply until which date?
Oh, until the 28th of April. So you got quite a bit of time.
Well, it's like 2 months. And the festival is going to take place when? Sorry, I skipped that. Maybe you want to repeat it.
That's a good question. Yeah, good to mention. The festival is happening in November. The 15th to the 21st.
So you keep it with the same date? Because as I understand, it was November of every year. So
that's right.
You still, okay. Well, I thought maybe you were going to move it, because of COVID, of course, or whatever. Okay, cool. That's fantastic. So the cockpit is still involved, this venue in London for the people that don't know what the cockpit is. And you won't have any other venue. Is that correct?
That's right.
It's going to be solely the cockpit or some other venues as well?
It's at the cockpit, physically at the cockpit, and online via the cockpit. They have this broadcast platform that we're using.
Yeah, probably this thing is going to stay with us forever. This online thing. I think we're going to see these sort of mixed festivals where you're going to have online mixing with live audience and so on and so forth. I guess the audience got used to it as well. We're different people now. We're different people. Okay, and just one thing before we finish.
We move on, Tom, I forgot to say we are also programming shows to happen on stage at the cockpit, and we're hoping that by November we can be at least in the venue, and hopefully in the venue without social distancing. So fingers crossed. Right now we're how that will work is we'll receive the applications, we'll look through everything, we'll talk to the companies who we want to program, and then hopefully by the time we get to that stage, we'll have more clarity around the pandemic situation and what's going to be possible in the venue. But for now, we're definitely planning to have performances on stage with an audience in the same physical room at the cockpit.
And I hope to be a member of the audience at the cockpit.
That would be great.
In November. Yeah, seriously. And now one last thing before we finish. I think you mentioned you're creating, well, in the past you mentioned the fact that you were creating some kind of connection with Austria.
Yes, so we are still working with our colleagues in Vienna. There are a couple of fantastic director producers there who we are collaborating with to create a sister festival, essentially, in Vienna. So we're in the process of strategizing and fundraising and planning. So I can't tell you when it's going to happen yet, but it's definitely something that we are really keen on to kind of spread the format of independent theatre throughout Europe. It's not only a UK thing, but the tradition of independent or fringe theatre in the UK is really strong. And there's something really magical to us, really important to us about being able to program these emergent shows that are actively, urgently responding to what's going on in the world right now and not waiting for permission, really, from venues and funders and, you know, the institutions. So we're really keen to work with independent theatre makers who are ready to just get their show on as soon as they can.
Okay, and I think that's a great attitude. It's probably a London attitude as well, to be open to the world, because it's still, you know, probably one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world by far. So, all right, listen, Amy, thank you very much. And once again, if you want to repeat the website just real fast, and we're probably going to finish this with the trailer from Voilà. Why not? So the website the website, if you want to repeat it, is?
It's www.voilafestival.co.uk, and applications are open for the 2021 November Festival until the 28th of April.
Okay, well, I hope you're going to have a great festival, and I do hope I'll be able to come in London in November and watch some of the shows. Amy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Step up.